humanities and social sciences student, surely you already encounter creative writing and creative nonfiction. We often treat and see these two terms in the same manner, but is it really the same? Tricky as it is, but these two concepts may be related but also different in their own ways. Join with me as we unveil the important facts, information, and tips on creating a creative writing and creative nonfiction. But before that, let us first familiarize ourselves and define the two distinct terminologies. What is a creative nonfiction? Creative nonfiction may include personal essays, feature-length articles in magazines, and narrative and literary journals. This genre of writing incorporates techniques from fiction and poetry in order to create accounts that read more like a story than a piece of journalism or a report. The audience of creative nonfiction is typically broader than the audiences of scholarly writing. On the other hand, it can seem difficult to narrow down the answer to the question, what is a creative writing? Since creative writing encompasses many types of writing, but exploring examples helps define this art form. The example of creative writings are epics, novels, poems, screenplays, short stories, songs, and television scripts. Basically, a creative writing is a simple writing of fiction where the author creates events, scenes, and characters, and sometimes even a world. Let us now dig in the tips on how to effectively create a creative writing and creative nonfiction. In creative nonfiction, there are 4 golden tips. First, make sure everything is factually accurate. Even though writing a creative nonfiction shares certain characteristics with writing fiction, writers should always make sure that everything they write is factually accurate to avoid complications and misunderstanding. Second is play with person. Oftentimes, the point of view in narrative nonfiction is dictated by the type of piece you are writing. But sometimes you have some wiggle room to experiment with different techniques which can give you a new perspective on real-world events. The third golden tips is follow emotion. One of the major differences between different subsets of nonfiction genre is the way that emotion can play in a piece. Creative nonfiction writers often listen to their emotions and allow their feelings to affect the shape and tone of their writing. And lastly, for the 4 golden tips in creating a creative nonfiction is incorporate literary techniques. One of the things that separates creative nonfictions and literary journalism from other forms of nonfiction is the use of techniques more often seen in the world of fiction. Elements of fiction that you might find in creative nonfiction include extended metaphor, allegory, imagery, synecdoche, and many more. Let us now move on into the tips on creating a creative writing. First, read, and read. Read famous works by great writers in a plenty of genres to get a feel or where your interests may lie. This would allow you to have references to draw from. Tip number 2. Always be writing. Do not ignore the random ideas that pop into your head. All ideas can inspire you to create good ones, and it also may trigger inspiration for a better idea later on. Third tip. Have a point of view. Use your own unique voice to tell the message and lesson of the story to resonate with your audience and connect with them in a way that leaves a lasting impression. For the 4th tip, use literary devices. Literary devices help you write vividly and create imaginative scenes, which are integral to good writing. Metaphors, simile, and other figures of speech create impactful images that can boost creativity and paint powerful pictures. For the 5th tip, it is very important for you to know your audience. Is the story just for your fellow creative writing students? Or are you an academic writer trying to break into the young adult market? There is rarely a piece of writing that can appeal to all demographics. So knowing your audience can help you narrow its tone and scope in a way that it appeals to your target audience. And for the last tip on how to effectively create your creative writing is that embrace writing. A writer rarely ever gets it right in the first draft. You may have flexibility with your own content, but don't be afraid to strip away to flaw, eliminate what doesn't work, or in some cases, completely start over. Storytelling and world building take a lot of time and thinking. And only through rewriting will you be able to craft a version that works best.